Yep to the yep. You already know what time it is, man. It's your girl P.O.C. Turn your radios up, spread the word, spread the message. You already know how we come in each and every morning. Live 900 AM WRD 96.1 Word Radio, bringing you that greener, safer Philadelphia conversation. Today, we have a jam-packed show as always. We want you to engage, be a part of the conversation. You can see my face as well as my guest's beautiful face. If you click that link to take you directly to Word TV, you can also give us a call, 215-634-8065, toll free 1-866-361-0900. And I'm encouraging you all to either download the app in your Google Play Store or in your Apple phone. All you got to do is type in Word Radio. The app going to pop up right at you. Download that app and share it with your friends as well. Or you can go directly to wordradio.com and click that big play button and tune in every Friday starting at 10 a.m. I got Kristal Bush on the line, man. We got a local celebrity with us right now, man. I'm excited. I'm really excited to have her with us here on EcoWord this morning because she's doing some amazing work in the city of Philadelphia when it comes down to just the legalization of cannabis, right? And we all know how that has affected us in so many different ways. Whether it was your friend, your neighbor, or just someone in your community. So we're talking policy this morning. We're talking environmental justice and how that intersects with the cannabis legalization here in the state of Pennsylvania. Kristal, I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell the people exactly who they're listening to.
Yes, I wear many hats, but in this role, I am the lead advisor for Black Cannabis Week, and Black Cannabis Week and the Cannabis of Opportunity Conference was founded by Sharon Perry Thomas, which I call my mentor, like that. Listen, I remember, just having my prison van service, and running that for 10 years and, not knowing what I wanted to do next. And I attended this conference, back in like 2018, 2019. And that's when I learned of all of the possibilities and how I could enter into this new industry. I entered into this industry as a patient. I launched several businesses within this industry, some that was, got shut down just due to, building out a little too soon, which forced me to now just do this organization called Free My Weed Man, where we just organize the community and the families that were impacted by the war on drugs. So Free My Weed Man was birthed out of just two failed attempts of trying to enter into this legal industry that I wasn't able to enter in because I was just moving too fast, faster than the regulations are.
Understood. And we're trying to get some regulations on and popping here in the state of Pennsylvania for sure. And it's going to be actually talked about this morning during Black Cannabis Week. It's going down at Temple University. We're going to give out the address throughout our conversation today. But when we talk about this policy brunch, which is also in partnership with the Senator Street's office, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so in partnership with Senator Street, we are just supporting the many bills that are out there, but we're coming from a standpoint of where we're advocating for equity. Many of us know that this war on drugs has caused so many communities, Black and brown communities, to just be disrupted. And, we believe that we need to have priority into getting into this industry. We need to have access. We need pathways into getting into this new industry. So there's several bills that's out, but many of the bills still need to be tweaked around where we are, advocating harder for just opportunities. And when we talk about opportunities, that is, the housing, like people who've been impacted by, the war on drugs, they should be receiving some sort of housing stipend, some sort of
reparations,
educational stipend. Yeah, like run us our money, like stop with us, and I think right now we feel like it's just all about a license, and it's not even about a license. It's about us giving back to those victims who were harmed. And first, before we introduce any of these bills, we need to talk to the victims. We need to identify who they are. They need to be aware of what's about to happen so they can be able to understand that this is a new industry that I can build from. This is a new industry, not even, that I can get in, but also that I can heal.
Yeah.
Like, many of us that's in this industry, we started off as patients in this industry, and we realized that we had to become advocates so we can push, legislation that, that speaks to the families and the communities that were directly impacted. So there are many bills that has been introduced. We still have work that needs to be done as far as like with the language and then defining who is, qualifies for social equity.
Mhm.
And also just understanding the different types of licenses, not just the retail, understanding that it can be, like delivery service. It can be a temporary event license. It don't have to just be like we have the opportunity to make this bill and shape it in whatever form that we want. It's the matter of do we want to? Do we want to
Mhm.
come together, and act like we don't know what's happening and do this work like, against each other or just really just coming together. And that's why I love Black Cannabis Week. I love this conference because, this conference it brings together and it celebrates just black excellence, like Black people that
Mhm.
are in this industry. It's so hard, to just be in this industry and be sustainable and sustain yourself and sustain your family. So it's so important that we come together in community. So we got people that's coming from like all over the East Coast, all over. Like we brought out some heavy hitters that's in this industry that's speaking from experience, that's really wanting to come into Pennsylvania and help us shape and mold what our adult use policy should be.
For sure. Thank you for breaking that down. And that makes me want to ask this next question about, just urban planning and urban growing, right? Because when it comes down to the legalization of cannabis, the biggest thing is that we have to be able to grow it. And some of us, who look like me and you, Black and brown farmers, want to get into that industry in that space as well. So how would you say, just the overall impact of being an urban planner and being an urban farmer, how does that, coexist or intersect with the legalization of cannabis?
Listen, like Black people, we listen, we grew the best, hemp.
Hmm.
Like when our slave owners, back in the day, they knew like we were responsible for growing the best hemp. We know this industry inside and out from experience. And this industry is really the farmers. It's really a real estate. It's how can we get this land so we can be able to grow and so we can be able to control the market and make this accessible as medicine to everyone.
Hmm.
So it really takes for farmers and really everybody to come together and for us to be able to grow our own.
Yeah, and a lot of people also want to become, indoor agricultures. They want to be able to experience what it means to go indoor with the experience of growing as well. Do you see that that's something that will be able to take place in the state of Pennsylvania?
Yeah, so we are advocating for home grow. Currently right now it's in the HB 2500. I had the opportunity of reading over that and I read that medical patients are able to grow up to five plants.
Hmm.
So I think that's important because it's allowing for patients to be able to have accessibility to their own medicine, being able to have access to grow their own medicine. Now it's a matter of just us providing the education and the tools on what that looks like. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, I think if we can pass this bill, that is one thing that I do love that it does have home grow in there.
Awesome. And this makes me want to ask another question. And this may be a far-fetched question, Crystal. I mean, again, for those who are just tuning in, you're listening to Kristal Bush, who's one of the lead advisors for Black Cannabis Week here in the city of Philadelphia, which is happening this week. It's happening right now as we speak. They're actually doing their policy brunch right now. Crystal's going to drop more information throughout our conversation of how you can be a part of it. It's actually happening right now in North Philly at Temple University. But Crystal, I want to ask you, when it comes down to community gardens, they are popping up everywhere, right? We talk about green spaces a lot here on EcoWord. We talk about how green spaces, as far as community gardens, have changed different zip codes and different environments because they have brought in more green spaces, such as community gardens. Do you see the cannabis industry, or just growth in general, as far as farming and planting? in community gardens. Do you think that is ever going to become a thing, or do you think that is necessary in different communities, or that's just, that's something that's needed, that's just in the way?
Yeah,
It's your
no,
opinion, of course.
I do see that it's happening in a form of like just farmers markets.
Yeah.
I do like even just I see it happening, but it's going to be a lot of convincing. Just because where are we going to place these, gardens? Is it going to be safe? Their biggest thing is children, right now.
Okay.
So right now, a lot of these facilities are upstate, Pennsylvania. Um,
Hmm.
so I do see it happening, but I see it happening in a form of like farmers markets,
Hmm.
where a lot of local growers that's out in the rural areas are able to come together at a farmers market and be able to disperse the medicine and the products. But it's just, I'm thinking of just zoning. And
Hmm.
like I said, this cannabis industry really is a real estate game. And just trying to see how something like that would get approved. I would love for it to,
Hmm.
but it's a lot of just conversation about just it not being accessible to children. So yeah.
I love that. And that makes me want to ask my last question. I mean, my next question, not my last question. I got about 10 more minutes with you, Kristal. Thank you for rocking out with me. My next question, when it comes down to, the legalization of cannabis, what role do you see community actually playing in it when it comes down to avoiding the contribution of gentrification, right? So when it comes down to the legalization of cannabis, and you see it in other states, if you are able to travel to states that have recreational and adult use, you see more dispensaries popping up in urban neighborhoods, right? And it's bringing more gentrification because that is bringing more funding and more money to that area, that zip code, that district, whatever it may be. So how can we continue to support the legalization of cannabis without contributing to gentrification?
So I feel like I said before, the cannabis industry really is a real estate game. And we are the culture, we are the culture. So just because it's a dispensary, we're actually on tour, our Daily Dose tour. We actually went to we're on our fourth state, and
Okay.
we were just in New York. We held our town hall underneath in the basement of a dispensary. So I see it more as this is the new way of our recreation centers.
Okay.
This dad, and the dispensary.
Our recreation centers, we definitely would have to distinguish the two. We talking about the safety of kids for sure.
Right, but no, listen. So this dad, the dispensary that we were at was called Smack Village, right? And
Hmm.
his dad, he was downstairs and he was on a panel, but he was like, "It feels so good that my 24-year-old son is upstairs trapping." So instead of him being on a block, he's now upstairs. He has a job. His
Okay,
friends
go
has
to
a job.
saying.
We're downstairs hosting a town hall.
Hmm.
We're downstairs hosting a town hall. So no, not attracting it to children, but just this is the new way and how we are meeting and how we are gathering. So it's not just a dispensary that we're opening up, but we're opening up another community center of resources. Like he has a podcast studio down there. He's going to have art classes down there. He's going to have photography class. And it's right in Brooklyn.
Hmm. But
So
some
I
people, Kristal, I'm not gonna lie, some people are scared, when they think of a dispensary coming into their neighborhoods, they're scared that it may lead to higher rent, higher taxes, different things being stretched out due to zoning and stuff like that. So that's why I'm asking the specific question, like how can communities still contribute to what's happening in their neighborhood without being pushed out or an inflation coming through because they have this new dispensary?
But I think even with a new dispensary, I think those taxes can go back into those same communities.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying if that's why we have to be on the front line advocating now where those tax dollars go. So yes, it may contribute, but if those tax dollars are going back into our communities where we are already organizing, where it's going to our business fund, where it's going, to the other sectors of how we operate, then we still win.
Hmm.
But if we're not on the front line right now, ensuring that those tax dollars go back into our communities, then yes, we're going to be boxed out. We cannot wait full adult use to come through and for us to hop on board. Like right now is the time that we have to really define where, the percentages of each of those tax dollars, those lines are going to. Is it going to our education? Is it going to our housing programs? Is it going to our businesses? Is it going to, just developing, just our community? But if we're not on the front line, guess what? We're going to be left with scraps. And yes, it is going to result in, high gentrification in those areas, to be honest.
And I think that's
The
why we
issue
need to
is
have
we're
these.
not never prepared.
Hmm.
We're not. And that's the intent. Like how a lot of things are operating, people are operating in fear. Yes, people are scared, but this industry right now, we have to admit, it was intentionally caused to disrupt our communities, to, transform our thinking, to have us thinking that we don't belong in this community, So then when we do start, seeing, it's popular and dispensaries are popping up, guess what? Yeah, it's a little too late. So right now, as language is being defined and being written, this is the time that we have to come together and amongst each other, build those, relationships across the board and have those conversations and unify to develop one plan,
And
Um,
that makes me want to ask this next question too, because one thing that you do advocate for specifically when you talk about you wearing many hats is social justice as well. You've been in a lot of different facilities here in the state of Pennsylvania when it comes down to people who are incarcerated because of the use of cannabis, right? So I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about that. How does the legalization of cannabis help in addressing racial disparities when it comes down to policing and incarceration in cities like Philadelphia?
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry.
How does the legalization of cannabis, addressing it, especially through these policies that, you all are talking about at the policy branch, how does addressing these racial disparities related to policing and incarceration actually, how does it actually help address things that are happening in cities like Philadelphia?
So, although Pennsylvania is decriminalized, people are still being arrested.
Mhm.
People are being arrested for just driving with brownies in a car, with edibles in a car. So it's still happening. And with the current medical bill, right? With the current medical bill, it's a percentage that has to go into law enforcement. So the medical program is actually getting funded to send, money to the police. Currently, a grant that just went out, $3 million to train police officers to better, interact with people who are medical patients. So they're being trained to still criminalize us in a sense, whereas that money can be used for education. So it's still happening, people are still getting arrested. I think currently right now, our governor has the opportunity to really pardon people, who were incarcerated for it. But yet we still got to host pardon clinics. We still got to host expungements. We can do an automatic expungement right now. We don't have to wait for full legalization for this to happen. And I think they think that we have to put it in the bill, but it don't. The government has that power now.
And my last question I want to ask you, Kristal, thank you again for rocking out with us. And again, for those who are tuning in, you can listen to us right now on WURD Radio app. You can download that again on your your Apple Store and your Google Play Store. You can go directly to wordradio.com and click that big play button. We encourage you all to tune in and definitely tell a friend and tell a friend. Each and every Friday, starting at 10 a.m., you listen to a greener, safer Philadelphia conversation here on EcoWord. We got Kristal Bush on the line with us right now, who is one of the lead advisors for Black Cannabis Week going down in the city of Philadelphia. Currently, right now, it's happening literally right now. And Kristal, I want to ask you, when it comes down to sustainability, but disposable waste, right? We have a huge issue with trash here in the city of Philadelphia. And with this new industry, hopefully crossing our fingers, coming into the city of Philadelphia as far as recreational use. It's already here as far as a medical uses. But when it comes down to recreational uses, we will see more pickup in trash, right? As far as what we need as far as disposable waste. how is the cannabis industry going to make sure it doesn't contribute to what we already have as a climate issue right now, specifically around trash and disposable waste? Because to my knowledge, I don't believe that a lot of these things that deal with cannabis can be deemed as biodegradable unless it is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, we do have a huge problem. Honestly, in the cannabis industry, they use entirely too much packaging. Like I had just recently bought a pre-roll in New York, and as big as the packaging, I thought it was actually 3 pre-rolls. So much, it was one inside one, and I'm like, this is a lot of packaging. So that is an area, to be honest, that this industry definitely need to work on. I actually see that as a business opportunity for someone because we don't have that, we don't have that plan. I think that that's really a business opportunity for someone to put together a program that can dispose products. Because when we think about even some of the empty jars, like, how are we recycling those? Because we can't just put that anywhere. It can't be accessible to kids, things like that. But I do think that we do need to do better with, especially in this industry, with using just less packaging. Like this company, because it's so new, everybody is heavily into the packaging where it's glass, it's the box, it's
Make it look pretty.
yeah, just making it look pretty. But I do think that that is something that we need to work on. But I see a business opportunity as a company here in PA that's able to like come up with a recycling plan for, us to put into this bill, make it, mandated. Like this is the time that we can really come up with whatever it is that we want to see.
I love that, man. Kristal, again, I appreciate the work that you're doing in the city of Philadelphia, for residents and also our incarcerated residents as well. Continue to do the work that you're doing. For those who don't know, she just graced the cover of Love Now magazine for the issue of the month of September. You can find that in your ShopRite stores all over the city of Philadelphia. So definitely make sure you tap in. Shout out to Josh Dunkins for always putting on the right people in the city, man. She's always doing some amazing work. She's always doing some amazing work for us here at WRD as well. So, Kristal, I appreciate you. Please tell them the information. I kept telling them you was going to drop it, so I'm sure they're eager to hear it. Tell them how they can find you, stay locked. How can they get the Black Cannabis Week? What's the address, the temple, all that good stuff.
Yes, pull up to Temple. We are hosting pull up to Temple. We are hosting the Cannabis Opportunity Conference in partnership with Senator Street. That's going to be at Temple University Medical School. That's 3500 North Broad Street. Right across the street from Temple University Children's Hospital. But when I say we put so much work into this, y'all, we put so much work. This is actually the 7th annual.
Yes,
So
yes.
7th annual. And when I say that we are bringing a policy breakfast, so currently we have a policy breakfast. Once, then we got the Rooted in Justice Film Festival, where my film, A One on the Outside, will be screening.
Awesome.
We are screening over 8 films. I'm so excited because we have a film where the filmmaker was 17 years old. It's called Father's Day. She shot it inside of a prison, and it just highlights a child going up to see their father during Father's Day. We got Zarina, Life After Death, coming through with her exhibit. And
Awesome.
yeah, we got 8 different, films. And I think when we think about storytelling, it's so important that we just control this narrative and we tell our stories. So yes, lock in with the film festival. We also have a fashion show that is happening, Blaze the Runway fashion show. And then on Saturday, we are doing a Cannabis Opportunities Conference, which was from 9 to 5. We're doing free medical marijuana cards for the first 100 patients that come. We also have a cannabis job fair. We have breakout sessions. We have a free expungement. So it's going to be an opportunity for you to network with industry leaders, people who have licenses in other states. We are bringing, the best of the best that's in this industry. And then on Sunday, we are doing Joints for Liberation. So if you want to do some yoga, meditation, and you just want to just vibe out, that's going to be on Sunday. So we have a weekend worth of events for us to just connect. and
That's
network
amazing.
and have fun, and have fun, and celebrate each other.
And
So,
educate yourself. Don't forget about the education. We're having a lot of fun, but we're also putting in that education as well. Kristal, what's the website one more time before I let you go? And again, thank you for
Black
rocking out with
Cannabis
us this
Week,
morning.
yes, blackcannabisweek.com.
We appreciate you, Kristal. You already know what time it is, man. It's your girl P.O.C. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break each and every Friday starting at 10 a.m. Eco word, eco word, eco word.